Okay, hello and welcome to the first episode of this new show, which is making a game in Corona SDK with Photon. So I normally make a series called Making a Game in Corona SDK, wherein we're working on this game, codenamed Bulbasaur. And it's a farming game where you buy stuff and you farm by planting things and harvesting them, and then you also have this stealth procedurally generated forest that you can go through. However, that project's in progress, but I also wanted to help people out with whatever they want to help out, and I got a request to do something with Photon. Photon is, as you can see here, it's a multiplayer development framework, and it's fast, lean, and flexible, as they say. And it's the SDKs. There's great SDKs supposedly for Corona to have a plugin that works with the Photon SDKs. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a short hiatus from this guy and make a new Photon project that will be something else. It'll be a turn-based game because I think that will be simple enough. So we are going to go through this. This is going to be the first episode. I'm pre-recording this instead of streaming it. The later ones might be streamed, but when you're setting up something like this, like we're going to have to go to the Photon Engine website and sign up and all that. I will likely have to put in information and possibly get a special key from them. And if I have to edit that, I want to be able to edit that without it streaming live, because the way these systems usually work is that you're communicating with the server that they're managing, and the way that you're communicating with it is you're using some kind of special code that they've given you. Well, if you show that code on say this stream, then anyone has access to yours. So we're going to be safe by having me do this ahead of time and edit it out if I need to edit something. But anyway, so we're going to do that. I'm also going to show you a little bit of Git, because that is how I'm sharing all this. Actually, you know what? We're going to go in there. Git is the version control software that I use. And so I figured since we're doing this, I could show you a little bit about how I do it. So we're going to call this, we'll go with Photon Fight. Actually, like I said, all my projects are named after Pokemon. I like to do that because that way you can't get attached to the name, because like if you name your project Pikachu and then you want to release it, you can't release it under the name Pikachu no matter how attached you've become to the project. So I like to give them Pokemon names. So why don't we call this one, actually I think I already have one called that. I'm trying to find a good one that I haven't used yet. That would be fun, and also it'd be cool if it was something that I thought of as indicative of a turn-based fighter. And what I'm thinking right now is we're going to use the fighter guy, because I'm going to make a turn-based game that involves kind of like tactical fighting, and I cannot find the Pokemon after which there we go, Hitmonchan. We're going to do that. We're going to call it Hitmonchan. Okay, so we're going to cd into there. We are going to git init. So we now have a nice Git repository. There's nothing in it yet. We do want to make a basic Corona game, so we're gonna go new project. This is good because I haven't actually shown you this. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I did start out the other one with this, but anyway, we're gonna make a game. We are going to say tablet preset. No, we're gonna go upright. I want to go upright. Cool game. Next. Gotta find a place to save it. We're gonna create it here. I should have done this before. I'm gonna show it in the Finder. See, this is their base game. It should just have a block that bounces and falls off into the void. Anyway, streaming game. Hitmonchan. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna take this entire base, which I should have created first. We're just gonna drag it into Hitmonchan. And then we're going to go to base. We're going to move it to the trash. And now actually, that's actually kind of good because you can see what Git looks like, because it would be slightly different if I had started with it like that. But anyway, let's open this up. All right, we got Hitmonchan. Okay, so we're going to go here, get status. Okay. Git add adds it all to stuff that you have staged for commit. So I believe this is how you, well, it's interesting. Like, I'm not entirely sure what the entire purpose of staging changes is. If you want to get into the minutia of Git, that would be an interesting thing to look up. Don't worry about it right now. You have to add things before you commit them. Then you go commit. We're going to call this first commit with Corona and Photon. So we're building a game with Corona and Photon. Good. So there we go. Got all that stuff. Whoops. Saved. Eventually we're going to add a remote repository, and I'm going to put this code up so that you can use it just like I do with my other project. But for now, that's what we've got. Okay, so let's go figure out how to get this. Let me check this. So one, they have different versions with different features. They have a real-time version, turn-based. What is this, pun? Some other kind of real-time multiplayer that's different. Bolt is another type of multiplayer. Oh, this is specifically for Unity. Oh, okay, these might be the versions for Unity, while these are the SDKs for other stuff. I'm not entirely sure. And they have a special one for chat. It seems like these are just different types that are optimized. And basically what you're paying for is a server, which is just a computer sitting in another location that has access to the internet that you are talking to, and it's running their software. And their software evidently is built for handling connections. And so we're going to do this turn-based one, which we're going to start with the free thing, which has 20 connections, 8,000 monthly actives, 100 messages per room. So I'm curious exactly, what constitutes a message. Like 100 messages per room sounds a little odd. I mean, like a turn-based game where each character or person takes 50 moves seems pretty small. Let's take a look at what the real-time pricing looks like. How do they do that? 500 messages per room. CC burst not included. What is burst? Anyway, we're gonna start with the free tier. We're gonna see how it works, and hopefully we'll get into some of this stuff, and we can see, if some of you get on this project when I put it out there, we can test to find out what 20 connections looks like and 8,000 monthly actives, etc. Anyway, so we're gonna start free. Got to put in your email address. Like I said, I'm gonna do some of this stuff off screen because okay, so yeah, here, successfully completed. Go check out your inbox. So I'm gonna go jump onto my email and do that. Anyway, yeah, so like I said, this is pre-recorded instead of my usual stream because I want to be able to do this without worry that I am sharing too much information. So you should always take security seriously. You know, even if you're making a free game, it's just a great practice. Okay, so they sent an email with a link to confirm my name and password. I didn't even put a password in before. So now we get this confirm screen to confirm your account. Okay, put in your password. Make sure to pick a good one. Just so you know, passwords, the best thing you can do is long passwords. I could get into all the minutia of that, but we're not going to worry about that. We're going to just say, hey, use a long password. A long password is better than any combination of wacky stuff. Preferably you don't use known words and stuff, but just make it longer. The longest you can make is the safest. Because most people use brute force hacking. Ooh, what the heck? Well, it just had me on a screen, and then it changed this screen, so I was talking too much and didn't get to read it. So anyway, here's the screen we're on. I have no applications set up for this. Oh, it was a screen that was asking about like a coupon for Unity or something. So maybe you get a coupon if you're doing this with Unity. I don't know. So I'm going to click this. Oh, yeah, I should maybe be showing you this stuff. Let me just check my email. Thank you for your confirmation, blah, blah, blah. Here's the dashboard, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure this isn't showing you too much or anything. Okay, cool. So I clicked the create a new application button from the applications screen. Oh, look, this is funny. So I had thought that you had to sign up for one of these. You can actually just make different applications of different stuff. So if we go to turn-based, oh, you have no applications. Create a new one. All right, we're going to call this guy Hitmonchan. Description, server for our Corona SDK Photon turn-based game. URL, enter your URL here. Interesting. So I don't know why they need a URL. So they need a URL, presumably, to talk to our application. Let me see something. What does this say we have to do? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, they're running servers all over, ready to use instantly. Simple Lua API. Following platforms. We're going to do iOS probably as our basis. So you have to require Photon. Master address using Photon Cloud EU region as default. Okay, that's interesting. Application ID, yeah, so here's the app ID. This is the thing that you're going to want to keep hidden for sure. There's an app version, so this is something that usually these services do, is that as they update their API, they have different versions, and you can tell it which one you're trying to contact, so it knows how to handle your messages. So that way, if they update to a new API, they don't break any of the stuff that's out there already working. And here's a load balancing client, which the premise for that is that if you have multiple servers, you want to manage incoming connections and balance them out among the 3 or however many servers you have, so that none of the servers is like overworked or bogged down or even shuts down from too many connections, or like, you know, it has issues. So when you build using the Corona simulator, the server automatically takes care of integrating the plugin into your project. All you need to do is add an entry in the plugins table in your build settings. Okay, we might as well do this as we move along. I am going to open Hitmonchan. We're going to take care of this. Stream game, Hitmonchan, open. Great. Here's this guy. build settings. There's a bunch of fun stuff in here. We're going to add this plugins. I wonder if this publisher ID is me, or if publisher ID means it's got to be me. So in my case, it's going to be my website, which is your website in reverse. And it's a good time to plug my website. You can go check out the stuff I'm doing, find my Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, etc. See some of the stuff that I've been working on as I go. Anyway, cool. Okay, so using the Corona Photon plugin instead of Photon Corona SDK in your enterprise project can reduce time which client spends on establishing connection to the server. Encryption enable and authentication. Download plugin library for your platform and link it into app executable. I haven't done this. I don't think we're gonna not do this. I don't know what the status is of Corona Enterprise, but I don't think that I'm running Enterprise. I don't know. I don't remember. Their stuff kept changing. We'll maybe take a look at this and see if there's a faster way to do things at a later date. Our Photon Cloud enabled. No need to set up any server. Register for free. Photon Cloud enabled. What does this mean? Check your mail to access Photon Cloud dashboard and copy and paste your app ID into the app ID field. Photon Cloud. Well, that's interesting because these, it doesn't mention Photon Cloud here anywhere. So I'm not entirely sure. Photon Cloud, the power behind. So the Photon Cloud is presumably all of these things. So anyway, I'm kind of curious, like, what the difference is here between these, like, turn-based, etc. Oh yeah. So anyway, sorry, we were looking at the URL. I want to find out what the URL is. Okay, it's a fully managed. This is what server as a service, system as a service, something like that. Photon on-premise services or servers, match your players in game sessions, blah blah blah. Great comparison of Photon real-time and Photon turn-based. Okay, so they have all the same features. Both use the same load balancing. Turn-based offers everything that real-time has, but is geared towards games with less interaction between players, turn-based or not. The games can be paused and picked up later on asynchronously. Makes more use of webhooks to store a room's state and web RPCs. Interesting. And that's example, matchmaking, create a game. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's say comparison, tutorials, custom authentication. What I want to know is, what is this? The URL. Application URL. I wonder. Photon application URL. Why? What is the URL? We're going to try creating it without it, but again, I'm going to move this out of the screen in case there's something that I need that I shouldn't show you. So I did not put in a URL, and I've got my app ID. I can't show you it because I don't want to accidentally show you something. Actually, I bet there's a cool way I can show you this screen really quick without... What I'm going to do is I am going to hack this. Okay, cool. Haha. Great. This is going to be kind of funny. So what you'll see when you go through that screen is this screen. your application for Photon. Cool. I want to make sure I'm not accidentally showing you this somewhere hidden. Okay. Anyway, this right here where it says blah blah blah, I changed that to say blah blah blah, but what it actually says is your app ID, which you use in your app. It's on the free plan. We recommend you upgrade before production. Manage, analyze, deactivate, blah 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 blah. Okay, great. Okay, cool. So that's that. There you go. And let me see. So let me refresh this, find out my app ID. Create a new turn-based application. Oh, yep. Don't want to create a new one. The URL might just be a way to indicate like what your URL is for your server. Like if somebody needs to, like somewhere they list this server somewhere. I don't know what they use the URL for, to be honest. Authenticate your players with known credentials, e.g. from Facebook. Read more in the custom authentication doc. Add a new authentication provider. Add callbacks, create a new webhook, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So what I want to do is start out by testing out one of these test applications. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to kind of show you those. Ooh. Ah, okay, yeah. So this, I think, actually is supposed to be exit games. Oh, okay. This publisher ID is to indicate where this plugin is published from. So that's good to know. That should be exit games. Okay, so I downloaded the various examples that are on the Corona site. So we are going to take a look at those. Okay, so as you can see, here's the different examples. I'm going to open them here. Theoretically, we should just have to put in the app ID for the server that we're running, and then we'll be good to go. And then from there, we'll probably take a look at that code and see how it's working. So let me just show you what this looks like here. So let's open this simple one. What I like about the Corona examples is that they put all their code in just one place. So you don't have to worry about any of the structure of code. You can actually just see exactly what's happening. You can read through the code. Usually it's fairly simple, and you can figure out how to use stuff. So that's good. Here's cloud app info. Okay, so evidently you need this cloud app info, which I bet is in here somewhere. Cloud, yes, here we go. So we require this, and that just makes app info equal to this, because this has a return. So this object is what cloud app info is. And then if we go look app info, so yeah, when it connects to the load balancing client, it uses the master address, your app ID, and the app version to connect. And then the rest of this, presumably, is just the basic Photon code. So cool, I am going to move this off screen and put in my API ID. Where did it go? Okay, here we go. Take my API ID. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in this app. Cloud app config. Okay, so now let's go take a look. Hopefully they do not show that when I run it. That would be annoying, but we'll see. It also just occurred to me that I can actually just delete the app and make a new one if I accidentally show the ID. So if that happens, I won't have to worry about it. But that's okay. So hey, look at this. So it's doing something, sending and receiving data. We can stop it now. Cool. So it looks like it's connecting. At least it says it's connecting. So let's take a look at what the code does. And of course, this is now going to break because I changed the app ID back. Okay, before we go actually reading up on how this works, let's just see if we can take a look at this and understand. So this is if it's try to load the Corona plugin or the Photon Lua module. So I think the difference between one of these and the other is that this is what their site mentions about enterprise stuff. If you use this, so they have two different things. They have this Photon Corona SDK and they have the Corona Photon plugin. And evidently one is faster, and that's because enterprise users get special privilege to have a different kind of code. That's fine. That doesn't really mean anything. As you can see, they end up in the exact same place. The code is a little different, but the end result is that load balancing client is the access to your Photon load balancing client. Load balancing constants is just a list of constants, which is just unchanged variables. I'm curious to see what those are. There's a logger, which presumably allows you to log server data. And there's a table util. So what I want to do is see if there's anything, if anything gets indicated on my Photon site that the server was used. It's interesting. I'm not really seeing anything in my little dashboard about anything that has happened. Let's go to analyze. There's an analyze. Okay, so their analysis data is rendered every 24 hours, so it sounds like, it won't be available for a while. Okay, but anyway, let's go through this. So we have that. We get our app info. We start up the load balancing client, a new load balancing client with a master address API version, which is interesting. I wonder if this also means that you can connect to multiple Photon servers. You might be able to do that from within one app. Okay, so your client is going to have this function is to handle responses. That seems pretty obvious. And what I'd like to see, oh yeah, so let me go back. Dang it. I go back to the Cloud App Info. I'm going to put my value back in so that we can run it. And I wanted to immediately stop it. Oh crap, okay. Okay, we're gonna refresh this guy. Let it connect, joined, stop. Okay, cool. So now we can go look at this stuff and see what got printed out. Okay, Okay, here we go. So we start here, we load the project, Corona plugin. Okay, so we have uninitialized. So here's the state, connecting to master, create app, start. We have an event that it is init, connected, looks at encryption, establishing, authenticated, connected to master, join lobby, nil. Curious what those are. Connected to master, join lobby, init, connects to the game server, disconnect, blah, 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 blah. Init, joined, and then it starts sending data. Okay, so good. So this gives us an idea of what the debugging information is. So we'll know what to look for on this side in the code. So when you get an operation response, it debugs on operation response, error code, message. That's interesting because this is the logger, which is the Photon logger, which I'm curious, like, where do those logs exist? Because I'm not seeing them on the Photon site, which is where I would expect to see them. There's also a subscribe button, which I just clicked. I just want to see what this is. Oh, you can subscribe to different costs of additional stuff. Like additional connections and stuff. If you want to make an actual production product, you can subscribe to different usage patterns. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Okay, so anyway, I don't think that we're seeing these on operation responses. I wasn't seeing create room. In fact, actually, you know what? We're going to take this. We're going to copy it. We're going to paste the log here. This way we can look for things. I'm also going to do this, make this 2 windows so that we can investigate. So did we ever actually get create room? Yeah, so we didn't get any of these on operation responses, I don't think. We did get these on state changes. We should have. State to change. Or maybe not. Or you know what? Maybe what it's debugging, or what it's logging, is not this. Well, so this looks like an error code, message, code, content. It's an error code. Cool. Okay, so we have on state change, on error, on event. See, I would have thought we would have seen one of these things. It said join lobby, join random room. Okay, yeah, so we did get that. Okay, cool. And then here's joined events, joined lobby, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, so if display, what's display? I think display is the Corona thing. So it creates the new text. It's a widget. Great, it's got normal height. This is the stop button. And all it does is, if on-ended, it does client m running equals false. So I guess this is how you stop a running client. If we're on Android, it adds a quit button. Oh, I think this is to, yeah, this is to exit an Android app, because in certain platforms you can't, you don't have a means to exit unless the app has an exit button, I guess. And, oh, here we go. This is running false. Oh, okay. I know what's happening. All this does is set client running to false. What is client? Client is our load balance client. So there's a client update. We're going to send data and service. Interesting. Those are send data. State string. Client timer. See, if running update. So it looks like we have a timer function on the client. Oh, interesting. What is this? I haven't used this, and it looks like timer. Huh. I wonder what this is. This might be a Corona thing that I haven't really played around with. Okay, so it's a timer that just runs. It's a normal system timer. Okay, so what they do is they're setting a timer, and I'm willing to bet iterations. If iterations is 0, if you want it to loop forever. Okay, so what they have an infinite timer that they're running, and it's going to call it on client, which is our client object, and that's this timer function. And all this is going to do is, whenever that timer runs, if the client is currently in the running state, it's going to call its update function. Otherwise, it's going to cancel the timer, say that it's set its state to stopped, and it's going to get the state string, previous state, display, and this is just going to put it on that text object. Okay, cool. And so update calls send data and service, which those send data is this. So if is joined room. Okay, so that's part of the actual server API. This is a little weird that they did this way, because they've created all this additional data on the client object, as well as like functions. So it kind of confuses what is a part of the actual load balancer API and what is something that is just a part of this project. They have a max send count, sends the data, last event, blah, 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 raise event. So this raise event is probably a part of the actual API. Updates this count, sends the data, great. Then what we probably get is a response. That gets operated on by something in here. Like it's probably this on event, right? But if we look, oh, we could just look at our code here. If we look at what we were getting from that, once it connected, we get joined events. Joined events. Yeah, here we go. It's probably this. Events. Yeah, and then the state and what it received, etc., etc. So yeah. Okay, so yeah, it looks pretty simple. I wonder what Corona has for. So it looks pretty simple. Modules, load balancing. Yeah, see, so it basically has all this stuff. So we're gonna dig into this stuff and see exactly what is happening. Does this call like init room? Oh, here, what we want to see is room. What does it do? Well, no. Room. What does it do with rooms? Join random game. Okay. Operation code. Join random game master. Random room fail. Try to create. Create a room. Yeah, so here we go. It creates a room. Create game. Game join room fail. Probably removed while reconnected from master to game. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so I'm wondering what these APIs. So they have a chat client, a load balancing client, and a server peer. Are used to connect the Photon server and communicate with it. A Photon peer, since it allows communication with the Photon server, which in turn distributes its messages to other Photon peer clients. An application uses more than one Photon peer instance, which are treated as separate users on the server. Implements Photon load balancing. So the load balancing one is probably not the most interesting of examples. Let's take a look at the particle example real quick. So let me just open that guy. Oh, was this called something weird? Sample advanced, okay. Okay, we're gonna open the advanced one. And just like before, we have to add our API. Take that off screen. This looks like it has quite a bit going on. It has a whole particle client. Actually, it didn't occur to me that our sample... Oh yeah, it just has our main, so it's all in here. They separated into a Photon client in the advanced thing, so they also have a Photon time util, a table util, a byte util, and knit a room. Okay, and they have the grid size that they're putting in the room, which is interesting. They set some properties. This is probably similar to what we're going to be using. Curious if we can run it and if it is pretty cool or not. Okay, interesting. Ooh, it's just sending all kinds of information. Let's say we make a new game. Well, I don't know what's going on. Oh, there's errors. Master peer connect failed. Interesting. Okay, so there might be more to this one. Just taking this off to see. Oh, you know what? I wonder if I need a different kind of server. Okay, we're gonna refresh that so it stops flipping out. Oh, yeah. No. Can we leave? No. Okay. I think that one needs a different kind of server than the turn-based, possibly. We might have to take a look at that to find out why. But this one seems to work. Okay. So, that is the beginning of it. We are going to dig in further. But it seems like that's all you need to get things started. And if you start digging through here and looking at exactly what is happening with it connecting to the server, authenticating and encrypting, you can actually see like basically what's going on here. State change. Because it's going to join a random room. See, I want to know where things like that come from. Joined lobby. Okay, if state is joined lobby. Yeah, there's some of this that's being printed out, like this joined here, is coming from, or at least it looks like it's coming from the load balancing client. Or it might be somewhere where we're logging something that I'm not seeing. But anyway, what we can tell there is that it joins, and what's interesting is that we have joined twice, and then it starts sending data, and it should also be receiving data. So what I want to see is received. Data received. Okay, received. Where do we use get state string? So on the timer, yeah, we put that whole string in here. I'm gonna do this so that we can actually see what this string looks like. Okay, so you can compare this. This is what we have. Events stopped, sent, last event sent, total, received. Okay, so they're putting the last received on this. It's kind of annoying how they set this up. It makes it a little harder to see. So, okay, so yeah, when we receive an event, it gets put on this mLast receive event, and they count it, and blah, blah, blah. They disconnect after we hit max send count, which is 100, so it'll do this for 100. Let's see, let's cut this down to like 5. That makes it way easier to read this. So now it's gonna just run. Let's watch it. Connects to the game server. Starts sending. It's done 5 and it disconnects. Cool. Now we can just see all that and we can see it disconnect. Okay, so that was the basis. That's the receiving, and then so this client, this load balancing client, it looks like once you join appropriately, it looks like they're creating a random room and joining a random room. Once you've done that, then you receive events and then you can also, this starts sending events on that timer. Let's see, where's that timer? Oh yeah, it calls update, which calls our send data, and if it's joined in a room and it's less than our send count, it starts sending data and it logs what its last event is, and then it raises the event. So it looks like this raise event is the code that we're looking for. Sorry, my cat is here. That sends data, and then on the other side, this on event is how we receive data. So that's the basis of it. So what I would say is you should start by playing around with sending data and receiving interesting data. And what we will do next week when we really dig into this is we're going to, our goal for next week is going to be to set up a room that's not just a random room. I'm hoping and I assume that if we go look at this, there's probably like, yeah, this room list where we can list rooms and then you'll be able to join rooms. So what I'm going to start with is setting up some actual rooms, allowing you to join those rooms, and then once you've joined a room, send and receive data. That's going to be the start of it. So I'm going to end this basically here. I mean, that's all you have, is you just have to go in, like I showed you, set up an account, put in your app ID, and you're good to go. With the demos, at least. We'll go and make a new project. Like we'll go into the new project and build this in the next episode. But anyway, so your app ID goes here in the Cloud App Info, which you'll see it in on your Photon page, which I can't show you because I don't want to share my app ID. But yeah, go ahead and do that and get started with your demo, and then next week we will actually get into writing the code. I want to show you one more thing before we go, which is we're going to create a file called gitignore, and gitignore makes it so that a given file doesn't get updated in Git. So we altered build settings and we altered gitignore. Now if we go in here, I'm going to go put my app ID in here. Then I'm going to save it, and now if we go like this, oh, am I in the right place? Oh, duh, I'm not even in the, okay, so we're going to go into this Hitmonchan app. Okay, let me do this. So I'm going to create a new file, save it, and we're going to call it cloud app info.lua. Okay, so this is where we're going to have our cloud app info. And here, I'm going to copy this over here. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to copy the way they do it in the samples and have this cloud app info file. Now you can see this app ID goes here. Now I'm going to share all this code with you. So if you look at this git status, you can see that we've altered this and that we have cloud app info ready to be added. Well, we don't want cloud app info to go into our Git repository because I don't want to share this information with you. So in the gitignore file, we're going to put that file, we're going to save, and now you can see it doesn't show up. So this git ignore file is a special file that makes it so that Git ignores those files whenever you're doing check-ins, so that you can have files that, like in this case, we don't want to share it because it has secure information. In your projects, you could have that, or you could have files that are there, like normally we do a to-do list. So I save like to-do dot text here, right? There's no reason. Oh wait, here, let me put this stuff in. We're going to say create Photon room, join rooms, send, receive messages. So that's our goal for next time. Now, I don't need to share our to-do with you on the code. Like, that's not useful to people maybe. So when we want to get rid of that, we just go here and we add it. And then when I go like this, boom, it's gone. So we're going to do that. We're going to add these. You can see the status. And we're going to commit them. We're going to say adding the ignores and what is it? The plugin. Photon. Great. So we do that. Good. It's all there. Now what we want to do is we want to add a remote repo, which I need to add on Git. So let me go to GitHub and show you what this looks like. I also don't know. I want to make sure I don't share anything that I shouldn't be sharing on there either. First I have to remember my Git password. Okay, so when you're on Git, you're going to create a new repo here to have to do that in, and repositories. Great. Where's create new repo? Oh, 1 second. I also want to make sure I don't actually do something that I shouldn't show you on here. There is a button that I am not seeing to create a new repo. Oh, there we go. Okay. So you go add, new repository, and we're going to call this one Hitmonchan. We're going to call it new Corona SDK game. Turn-based game using Photon. It's public because if it's private, then I have to add my credit card and pay for it. And this one's public because I want to share it with you so you can check it out. You can initialize the repo. We're not going to do that because I'm going to push this stuff onto it. So the nice thing about Git is it gives you all the information you need. So if we're pushing an existing one, which is what we're doing, we want to add a repo. So we're going to go over here. We're going to do git remote add origin, blah, blah, blah. Origin is the name of the repo. And that's just a custom or a convention to use the word origin. So now we've added it. If you go git remote -v, it'll list them. And so we have origin. Fetch is where you grab your repo from. Push is where you send it to. Most of the time you're going to have them be the same thing. And now we're going to push, if you look at git branch, we are currently in the master branch. We're not doing other branches right now. Maybe I'll get into showing you how this works later in this series. But for now, all you need to know is we're on the master branch. So origin is our repo name, master is our branch name, and all we're going to do is force this push up to Git. We're going to push that up. Oh, it's going to ask me for my password. But anyway, yeah, so then you have to go in and put your password in to send it up to here and then replace this one. I will go do that, and then we'll have it up here on Git, and you can go pull it down. In the next episode, I may show you that in case you're really unfamiliar with Git, but that's fairly easy to learn. Hopefully, if you've gotten this far, you can figure that out. But anyway, that's it for this week. Next week, we will dig in, and like I said, our to-do list is to make a room, join the room, and send and receive messages. So look forward to that, and yeah, have a great weekend.